Have you guys noticed that most married men aren't actually happy? Most married men are lying to themselves and gaslighting themselves into thinking that they're happy in a marriage which is loveless, sexless, where the woman always argues and belittles and emasculates them. Their wife endlessly nags at them while they're working full time, trying to provide for her, for the family. Women will often victimize themselves and say that their mental load is overbearing. Meanwhile, the man has to look at the big picture, worry about the wife, the kids, working every day, endlessly paying for all of the bills, providing. He has to worry about investments, about retirement, about the college funds for the kids. Meanwhile, the woman only has to worry about preparing dinner, keeping the house clean, making sure that the kids are happy and healthy. The woman will say that she's overstimulated just because she has to cook dinner and keep the house clean. But they never stop to consider the mental load that men have. Most men stay in relationships so they don't lose everything, so they can see their kids and they don't have to split custody. It's truly so sad how many men gaslight themselves into staying in a relationship where both parties are not happy and they feel like they can't speak up because they have a wife who berates them or emasculates them and belittles them on the daily.
Wow, man. She definitely cooked. She had a lot to unpack there. I probably agree with just off the first, you know, quick snapshot of the video reaction. I would say I agree with probably 95% of that. 95% of that. Man, let's kind of unpack this really quick. Again, that was a lot. I think just the whole concept is, most men aren't happy in their marriage. And she talked about how it's sexless, how it's just basically emotionless, how that men take on the most load of it when it comes to worrying about, providing, protecting, when it comes to retirement, when it comes to, college funds for the kids, when it comes to investments, and so on and so forth. And then she kind of alluded as well and said that, women only have to worry about, managing the household, making sure the kids are happy, cooking and cleaning, right? Well, let me start off by saying this. Yes, as men, we do have a lot to carry, but that's just the burden that was bestowed on us, right? We're stronger. We should be able to carry more. However, I don't want to discard that, man, running a household, keeping your kids on the schedule and in line, cooking and preparing meals, keeping the house clean, that is a job in itself. So I would not minimize how much work it actually takes. And let me unpack that right quick, right? So let's say you're the woman of the house, right? And you have multiple kids, not one, but multiple kids. Listen, I don't even have kids yet, but when I have my nieces and nephews come over, I'm like, man, we are constantly helping clean up behind them. And it's not like they're intentionally keeping things dirty, but just how they move their kids. Sometimes they're unaware on what they're doing, right? So I'm just like, these are older kids. So imagine, man, young kids who don't know anything, right? Constantly cleaning up behind them, training them to clean up behind themselves. Also, you got to make sure that they're on point with school, making sure that they're doing their homework properly, that they're studying, making sure you're following up with the teachers and stuff, make sure they're getting their right work and things of that nature. That school is a whole separate thing. That's a whole nother situation besides just being in a household, right? Keeping them happy, right? Keeping them entertained on some level, planning different things for them. They may have after school program. They may be in sports. They may be in some type of extracurricular activity, right? That's managing the kids as well. And then when it comes to not also manage your household, when I said like cooking and cleaning, you got to make sure you stay on top of helping your husband. So when it comes to maybe he had a stressful day at work, maybe you're washing clothes, maybe you're doing a grocery shopping for him, right? Again, if he had a tough day at work, you're there, not counseling him, but being there as a listening ear, right? As he kind of unpack his day. So I won't sit here and minimize, man. It is a lot of work for women if they strictly in that role where they're a stay-at-home wife. So take all of that, right? If they strictly stay home wife, but what if they just also working and the expectation is that they have to still accomplish those tasks? That's a lot for one person, right? And so I can't minimize both situations. And this is why I'm an advocate now of understanding modern marriages, right? If the man can literally go run up a crazy bag and he has enough money where he can hire help, maybe have somebody come clean the house, maybe have a nanny, maybe put them in private school where they have a smaller situation where they can get more attention, and then the teachers are on point because they're paid. You know what I'm saying? And they really involved with the kid's life as the parents are. Versus in public school, it's a wild, wild west sometimes. You don't know what you're getting. So you don't know what your kid's going into. So, it's a lot, man. And I think if there's no understanding, there's no clarity on why each person if there's no understanding on what we're doing, meaning what's the system that we're putting in place that works for our situation, right? So for instance, for me, I'm holding my stuff down, right? And I say that to say, I don't technically need my wife to like wash my clothes, go grocery shopping for me, right? These are things, yes, I can do on my own, right? The house we both share, we do have roles on, like, mostly I take care of dishes. She do like the bathroom stuff because she very particular about that stuff. But we both help out. But she does typically take over that 90% of the rest of the stuff, like household cleaning, because she likes to clean a certain way. I'm not efficient with it. I can clean, but she is very detailed about how she wants. Cool. Good with me. But I say that to say, because she does do those things for me and I do other things for her, right? Making sure gas is in her car, checking her oil, when I get a chance, taking her car to get washed. So I'm providing different things for her that she could do herself as well. And we just working together. So it's just very important that y'all are on the same page. Yes, for men, we are thinking of the bigger picture, right? Investments, retirement, college funds for the kids, right? That protecting aspect and providing. However, women bring a lot too. But I think we've got so far away from, both parties at each other's neck about who should be doing what versus sitting back and saying, okay, what's something naturally that I fall in, right? A man naturally wants to protect. A wife, a woman, she naturally wants to be the nurturer in the family. She wants to take it. Listen, I'm going to keep beating this. Women do not want to work, right? If they can go on a trip every day, if they can chill, if they can go do brunch, they would do that if they ain't have to work. I promise you. They don't want to, it's just they have to in this situation, in this economy, in this, where we are in society right now. They have to. Some of them want to, right? Because they like having their own money and stuff. But I promise you, if they didn't have to, women would be like, heck no, I don't want to work. You know what I mean? I would rather stay at home if it's a good situation, meaning the man is on top of stuff. He did put systems in place, right? He is handling business. Then no, they going to be like, heck yeah, leave, bro. I'm good. I'm going to take care of what we got. But I always circle it back, right? For men, we have to already know what we want for ourselves. And that way, when we bring a young lady in our life, when we bring a wife in our life, we can help guide them and say, look, this is where I'm going, and this is what I need from you to help assist that. And I can support whatever you want to do as well to help you have the life that you want, right? But at the same token, because I'm leading, I need to be able to bring us along this way. And so I need you to bring that support as well. But if you don't know what you want, if you don't know where you're going, how can you give directions? How can you guide? How can you influence? How can you lead your household, your wife, to what's needed, right? She wouldn't know that, you eating certain food if you're not communicating, right? Because, man, you healthy, you trying to stand on your ground, you working out, right? Hey, nah, I'm not eating fast food. If not, she'll just throw something on the plate. You know what I'm saying? Hey, no, we're not going over there because we going here. Right? It's the communication factor. Right? Maybe you have a budget together and you like, look, I need bills to be paid on this time. I'm gonna pass that off to you. Right? I got the money in a certain account. All you got to do is tap in and pay the bill. It's direction, man. It's giving direction. And so to wrap up the video and bring it back to the point on why men are unhappy in their marriages is because they don't know how to lead, number one, because they can't lead themselves. They don't know where they're going. They have no purpose. They have no goals. And so when you don't have any goals about yourself, and you're not on point, you're not purpose driven, guess what? Now your wife getting frustrated. Now she at your throat. Now she belittling. Now she talking back to you. Right? Now she disrespecting, because it's like, bro, you don't even respect yourself. You haven't got your house in order. Right? Shout out to my uncle, man. RIP. Get your house in order, church. That's what he used to say all the time. Right? If you don't have your house in order, that's what's gonna happen. Women are gonna get frustrated. They're gonna feel unhappy. And they're not gonna be able to lean into their femininity. Right? They're not going to feel comfortable. They're going to feel like, man, this dude is not leading. He's not on point. There's no plan on investments. There's no plan on college funds. There's no plan on saving. There's no plan on vacation. There's no plan on, hey, we need to grind for X amount of months because this is the play we're trying to make. If there's no direction, women get very fickle, man. They're not with it. Right? You have to have clear direction. And again, it doesn't always mean every single thing you do, you got to tell them. But I think if they can see the line of sight, they can see, okay, hey, I want to do X, Y, Z. These are the checkpoints that I'm trying to hit along the way. And they can see you hitting those checkpoints, right? Then they're going to be with it. So I think that's just what the problem is with a lot of married men who are unhappy in their marriage. Again, a lot of them, what she said, they have got emasculated, right? They've got comfortable. Right? They've taken a step back and tried to say, all right, I've married you. I've got these things set in place. Now you just run it. No, you got to constantly be leading. You constantly got to be on top of it. Right? And that's the leadership. You always got to be out front. The woman don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. That's just what it is. So, men, number one, get yourself together, right? Get yourself in shape if you're not in shape. And again, don't mean six pack, but it does mean into a healthy situation where you can move and you feeble. I think that's the right word. And you got some agility behind you. You can move a certain way. You can lift some stuff, right? Then make sure you're on your career path. Don't mean you got to be already there. But if you get with a young lady and you already, making your way, she's like, okay, cool. I can see the vision, right? And keep educating yourself. It's a constant learning situation, man. So that's the start. And then from there, get into leadership roles. Figure out how to get in your career, whatever you're trying to do, maybe your community, different environment situations. Figure out how to lead, because that is going to resonate inside your household too, because you're going to see certain scenarios where you're like, oh, okay, it's kind of similar. I see how I need to react. I see how I need to move in this situation. So again, we have to lead, man. This is what's going to make an unhappy house turn to a happy house if you learn how to lead. But if you don't, it's the opposite, right? You have a happy home, everything's good in the beginning, right? The honeymoon phase, and then things take a left because you stop leading, right? Kids getting out of control, they're messing up in school. You don't know how to react. You leaving it all on her, but she come to you like, hey, this is what's going on. I need a solution. I need an answer. You don't know what to do because you like, I'm stressed out at work because you ain't on point. It's a whole cycle, man. It's a whole, everything's connected. So listen. If you feel like you're unhappy in your marriage, you got to tighten up, man. You have to tighten up. You got to get control. And so, anyway, shout out to the the content creator. I think, like I said, she cooked in this video. Man, this was a great video. But drop a comment below. Tell me what y'all think. I gave my thoughts on it. And, tell me if you agree or disagree, right? Hit a like on the video if you got any value. Subscribe to the Husband Code. I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.